Do you know Gloria Steinem? Here, let me give you a hint. Steinem was a spook. Confused, I decided to dig a little deeper. Black Feminism, the CIA, and Gloria Steinem.
Welcome back to another episode of The Divide. I wanted to talk about this TikTok video that sent me on a rabbit hole doing tons of research and reading about the Black feminist movement and the Black movement in general. I've been trying to make this video for 2 or 3 weeks now because I keep going on tangents. There's so many tangents, but I think the best way for me to tackle this is to read some of the things that I found during my research. But first, I need to let the lady in the TikTok video set the stage.
Black Feminism, the CIA, and Gloria Steinem. What follows is a fact sheet about Gloria Steinem's operations against the various social and political movements in America, particularly her role in creating a hateful and virulent strain of Black feminism
and virulent Southern white racism was
that attacks Black men while partnering with the white establishment. Steinem first came across the radar of Black men when she put a book called Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman by Michelle Wallace on the cover of Miss Magazine, to which she controlled. Let's read on. The book was written by a Black feminist and activist, quote-unquote, named Michelle Wallace, who came out of nowhere. She was in her early 20s, yet she was being touted as the leader of Black feminism. In the book, Wallace called abolitionists like Harriet Tubman and Sojourner Truth ugly and stupid for supporting Black men. She called Black revolutionaries chauvinist macho pigs and advised Black women to go it alone. But peep what Gloria said! Gloria Steinem said that Wallace's book would define the future of Black relationships, and she pushed hard to make sure the book received massive publicity. Define the future of Black relationships? What's the bottom line? The bottom line is the so-called Black feminist movement was created and manipulated by the CIA from the very beginning. The only difference between Black revolutionaries and Black feminists on this issue is that Black revolutionaries know they were infiltrated and manipulated, but Black feminists are still unwilling to admit that they were infiltrated and manipulated, largely because they are highly invested in the hateful brand of Black feminism.
I wanted to know why Michelle Wallace was used to be the face of quote-unquote Black feminism, the hateful, virulent strain of Black feminism. So I found a piece that she wrote for the book, All the Women Are White, All the Men Are Black, but Some of Us Are Brave. This book was published a few years after her Black Macho and the Myth of the Superwoman book was published, and I think it does a good job at explaining why she became a feminist in the first place. When I was in the 3rd grade, I wanted to be president. I can still remember the stricken look on my teacher's face when I announced it in class. By the time I was in the 4th grade, I had decided to be the president's wife instead. It never occurred to me that I could be neither, because I was Black. Growing up in a dreamy state of mind, not uncommon to the offspring of the Black middle class, I was convinced that hatred was an unsubstantial emotion and would certainly vanish before it could affect me. I had the world to choose from in planning a life. I thought it was an interesting choice of words that she used the word hatred instead of racism, but I know what racism is. Whenever a little kid says they want to be an astronaut, a president, or whatever, the typical thing an adult, especially a teacher, is supposed to say is, oh, good job. Yeah, they're supposed to encourage things like that. And just because the teacher didn't say anything, her stricken look said enough. Nonverbals are sometimes more poignant than any words people can say. I wish she would have told us whether or not this teacher was white or Black. People want to say that slavery happened a long time ago, you need to get over it, but what people fail to realize or they willingly ignore is that There are a lot of racist people, and sometimes they don't even know they're racist. But a lot of times they will put their racism or their ideologies out there unknowingly to little kids. And once it's out there, the damage is already done. In this Harvard Medical article, it says how racism affects can lead to chronic stress for kids, and that can lead to cause hormonal changes in the body, and that even an unborn child can be affected by stress of the mother during her pregnancy, which results in infant mortality and low birth weight for infants. In this article by the New England Journal of Medicine, they said that the extent to which the lower birth weights among blacks are related to social or genetic factors is unclear, but there have been numerous studies that Arab women or descendants of Arab women 6 months after 9/11 reportedly were having more low birth weight babies because of the social stigma that came after 9/11. But it's clear for them to see the impact of what heightened discrimination and harassment did to Arab infants. They were all low birth weight. And here's another article for good measure that states that experiences of discrimination increase the risk of preterm birth and low birth weights. Okay, I lied. Another one. This one is about African born black babies, US born black babies compared to white US born babies. And they said that the African black babies born in Africa had more similar outcomes to white US born babies. And you can see the percentages here: 13.2% low birth rate among US born black women, 7.1% for African born black women, and 4.3% for whites. So, what's the point of all this? I'm trying to paint a picture of what Michelle Wallace's childhood was like. She was growing up as a little girl during the civil rights movement. This is during a time whenever there were tons of racist, degrading, demeaning, dehumanizing images were out there about blacks, and specifically about black women. A time when even white men were being killed for simply trying to help blacks register to vote. So I just want to read a little bit more of that piece she wrote for the Some of Us Are Brave book. On rainy days, my sister and I used to tie the short end of a scarf around our scrawny braids and let the rest of its silken mass trail to our waists. We'd pretend it was hair, and that we were some lovely heroine we'd seen in the movies. There was a time when I would have called that wanting to be white, yet the real point of the game was being feminine. Being feminine meant being white to us. One day, when I was 13, on my bus ride home from school, I caught a brief but enchanting glimpse of a beautiful creature, slender, honey brown, and she wore her hair natural. Very few people did then, which made her that much more striking. This was a look I could imitate with some success. The next day I went to school with my hair in an afro. On my way out of my building, people stared, and some complimented me, but others, the older permanent fixtures in the lobby, gaped at me in horror. I mean, I don't understand. Her wearing her own natural hair. Like, she's not out there bucket naked. She's not doing anything obscene. She's wearing her natural hair. And her elders are looking at her in horror. Like, let that set in. How this little girl, she's 13, and she decides to wear her own natural hair. And oh my God, it is such a big deal. People are looking at her in horror. Just keep tabs of all of the strikes against this little black girl, okay? Because we already talked about her wanting to be the president and her teacher's response, and now her natural hair. Oh my God. Walking the streets of Harlem was even more difficult. The men on the corners who had been only moderately attentive before now began to whoop and holler as I came into view. Becoming exasperated after a while, I asked someone why. They think you're a horror, sugar. I fixed my hair and was back to normal by the next morning. Letting the world in on the secret of my native naps appealed to my proclivity for rebellion, but having people think I was not a nice girl was the war already, and I was not prepared for it. I pictured myself in a police station trying to explain how I'd been raped. Come on, baby, you look like you know your way around, sneered an imaginary policeman. And there's the adultification of a little black girl. It was just super normal for them to tell her that she's viewed as a horror because her hair is in an afro. I want to cuss so bad. Like, that is so effed up. That is so effed up. How wearing your hair natural. I'm going to continue this in the next video. I hope to see you guys in the next episode of The Divide. I need to calm down. You guys take it easy. Have a good one. Bye.